Greg Kelly here for Colonial Metals Group. They nailed every call on gold's explosive rally, beating the S&P 500, NASDAQ, and even Bitcoin. And now they're warning the next surge is already underway. Get their free gold guide now at freegoldguide.com or call 800-655-5186. That's 800-655-5186. Learn how to move your savings into physical gold, 100% tax-free. freegoldguide.com.
$1 million. Free to play. You just need to survive. It's the Fanatics NFL Survivor Pool. Pick one team to win each week. Get it right, move on. Get it wrong, you're out. The last fan standing take home a guaranteed $1 million cash prize. And for every player who joins, we add $1 to the pot, up to $10 million. The Fanatics NFL Survivor Pool. Play free on the Fanatics app. App access open to all. Must be 21 plus and joined by 9/8 to play. No purchase necessary. U.S. only. Void where prohibited. Subject to complete terms. See fanatics.com/game rules.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
In my first term, I created a thing called Space Force. So important. You know, we were losing the race in space very badly to China and to Russia. And now we're far and away number one in space. And reestablished Space Com with a mission to protect American space assets and detect any threat to our homeland. We initially selected Huntsville for the Spacecom headquarters, yet those plans were wrongfully obstructed by the Biden administration. And as you know, they moved them to a different locale. And today we're moving forward with what we want to do and the place that we want to have this. And this will be there for hopefully hundreds of years. That's where it's going to be. I will say I want to thank Colorado. The problem I have with Colorado, one of the big problems, they do mail-in voting. They went to all mail-in voting. So they have automatically crooked elections. And we can't have that. When a state is for mail-in voting, that means they want dishonest elections because that's what that means. So that played a big factor also. In Huntsville, Spacecom will play a key role in building the Golden Dome, as you know. That's going to be a big thing. Everybody wants to be a participant in it. Missile Defense Shield, we're going to be having a Golden Dome that the likes of which nobody's ever seen before, the finest, the best. And by the way, Canada called. They want to be a part of it, and that'll be great. But Canada wants very much to be included in that, and we're going to work something out with them, I hope.
Ladies and gentlemen, of course, that President Donald Trump, White House this afternoon, and there was another question that was asked concerning what we briefly talked about yesterday, the rumor mill that sprung up in the left. And interestingly enough, I guess one of the, we mentioned 10 candidates yesterday that the Democrats consider their front runners for president, and his name wasn't on it, which is surprising, because this guy was the former, he would have been vice president had Kamala Harris prevailed. He's the governor of Minnesota. And the question that came up yesterday the rumors, and they persist. I got a call this morning, by the way. I got a call. I will not mention the political person. He's a known entity in the world of politics, what one might call a heavy hitter. And he called me this morning since I'm not going to mention his name, I'll just tell you what he said. He asked me if I had heard that the streets in D.C. had been cleared because there was something to this rumor, after all, about the president's health. And this person was aware that President Trump had been at his Virginia golf club. You mentioned that to me. We talked briefly about the meetings, but he said this meeting at 2:00, this was this morning, I got the call. He was worried because of ongoing rumors about the president's health. You had none less than this person I'm talking about, this former candidate to become the vice president of the United States. We should all be thankful. that he failed and that they failed despite. I thought it was $1 billion. Princess Diana the other day told me and told all of us in the audience that estimates are ranging now for $3 billion that was spent on that failed presidential campaign. The Democrats, by the way, are in debt. Can you imagine spending $3 billion on a presidential campaign and ending up in debt? And that's something that the DNC is working with now. But anyway, let's get to Mr. Walsh. That's 18, Carlos. He was speaking at a Labor Day event. And this obviously in response to all the rumors surrounding President Donald Trump's health that took place over the Labor Day weekend.
You get up in the morning and you doom scroll through things, and although I will say this, the last few days you woke up thinking there might be news. Just saying. There will be news sometime, just so you know, there will be news.
So he's making a joke. So you doom scroll, looking for people that have suffered the worst. And we thought there might be news. Ha, 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 ha. In other words, we thought President Trump might be dead. Let's just call it for what they know he meant and what he meant. Oh, but don't worry, it'll happen someday. I've never seen anything like this. Well, the president also addressed that. He was asked by, I think it was Ducey from Fox News this afternoon, and he was asked about the stories that appeared this week, and this is what he had to say about it.
President Trump, something completely different, but about a big viral social media trend over the weekend. How did you find out over the weekend that you were dead? You see that?
No.
People didn't see you for a couple days. 1.3 million user engagements as of Saturday morning about your demise.
Really? I didn't see that. You know, I have heard, it's sort of crazy, but last week I did numerous news conferences, all successful. They went very well, like this is going very well. And then I didn't do any for 2 days, and they said, there must be something wrong with him. Biden wouldn't do them for months. You wouldn't see him. And nobody ever said there was ever anything wrong with him, and we know he wasn't in the greatest of shape. No, I heard that. I get reports. Now, you knew I did an interview that lasted for about an hour and a half with somebody, and everybody saw that was on one of your competitors. I did numerous shows and also did a number of truths, long truths, I think pretty poignant truths. No, I was very active over the weekend. They also knew I went out to visit some people at the club that I own, pretty nearby on the Potomac River. And no, I've been very active actually over the weekend. I didn't hear that one. That's pretty serious stuff. Well, it's fake news. You know, it's just it's so fake. That's why the media has so little credibility. I knew they were saying, like, is he okay? How's he feeling? What's wrong? I said, I just left. And it's also sort of a longer weekend, you know. It's Labor Day weekend, so I would say a lot of people know. I was very active this Labor Day. I had heard that, but I didn't hear it to that extent. Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, so there you have it. And hopefully now the rumor mills on the left will be shut down. Yesterday, if you were with us, we talked briefly about some of the violence going on in Chicago. Today's entire program, ladies and gentlemen, could be about Chicago. The President of the United States says that he will direct federal law enforcement intervention in Chicago and Baltimore, despite local officials in both places opposing the moves. And what happened in Chicago over the weekend, we came in before the numbers were fully totaled. All reports indicate 57 shootings over the weekend in Chicago, 7 dead. And to hear people like the governor of the state of Illinois, to hear Brandon Johnson was out on an event. None of this is taking place. If you listen to these people, we have so many sound bites from Chicago. I want to begin them when we get back. We'll probably carry them over because we have a lot. But I want to talk first about the judges. Here we are again. Trump's use of National Guard during Los Angeles immigration protest is illegal. A judge says, this is U.S. district judge, another district judge, the lowest level of the federal judges. These guys and gals just seem to act regardless of what the Supreme Court says, they think they know more than the president. They think they should be the president. They believe that they have more power than the president. In a scathing ruling, a U.S. District Judge Charles Breyer in San Francisco noted Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Seck have stated their intention to deploy the National Guard troops to other cities, including Oakland and San Francisco. Well, he hasn't done it. So why is this judge? The judge is supposed to be there to talk about the factual information, not following the political news and commenting on what hasn't happened yet. But he's reading the news and he feels concerned that there is a national police force being created with President Trump as the chief of police. Now, he made this ruling about the National Guard, but he didn't require the 300 remaining National Guardsmen to be withdrawn in L.A. He says they received improper training, like he's an expert in training. And what the White House says, Anna Kelly, spokeswoman, once again, a rogue judge trying to usurp the authority of the commander-in-chief to protect American cities from violence. So we shall see if this ruling, which Democrats are celebrating, Democrats never celebrate the apprehension of criminals. They never celebrate. As much as they talk about guns and wanting to take guns from people, they never celebrate the amount of guns that have been illegal guns, by the way, confiscated from people that should not have them. They never praise any of that. And another move, which is just as bizarre as they come. Over the holiday weekend, you may know a federal judge, another district judge. This one's name is Sparkle Suknana. Judge Sparkle there has decided that the Trump administration could not repatriate. The news accounts of this one happens to be a BBC story that I'm looking at, but they couldn't repatriate citizens of Guatemalan children who came to America with no parental custody. They arrived in our nation alone. Their families want them back home. Their parents, their government wants them back home in Guatemala. This should be a no-brainer. The president of Guatemala, Bernardo Arevalo, and lawyers for the U.S. Justice Department both argued that these children were not being deported from the United States. They were being repatriated so that they could be reunited with their families in Guatemala. Their parents. President Arevalo criticized the ruling from this district judge Sparkle and said that they're going to continue in Guatemala to fight for bringing the children home. He proposed the program to bring the Guatemalan children home to their country. This wasn't a United States initiative. It was his initiative, the president of Guatemala. And yet you have old Judge Sparkle deciding she wants to put her nose in it and interfere with the Trump administration. Dozens of parents had already gathered at a reception center, anticipating that their children were coming home. When Judge Sparkle issued a temporary restraining order from sending the 10 children, many of them, they are all between the ages of 10 and 17, back home. This is another Biden appointee. And then she expanded the order to cover all accompanied children said to be at quote-unquote risk of deportation. That the courts would look, the Supreme Court really does need to step in here. These rogue judges are just out of control, and this makes no sense whatsoever. And yet, you hear Democrats we have a sound bite in here in the mix. Let's see where it is. Help me find it, Carlos. The one with Scott Jennings taking on these ideas, these Democrats on this panel on CNN that want to keep these kids in this country. They're arguing that these children should be separated from their parents, is what they're arguing. These people make no sense. We got to take a break. When we come back, we'll get to all of that and more. James Golden, son, we got to take a break. Man, we're late. And we're coming right back. Don't go away.
The Rush Hour with James Golden
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
In Chicago, everybody got to get down. Everybody got to get down because they shoot. Everybody down. Look, these kids are running. They shooting. We can't have no fun in Chicago, man. No fun, man. This is terrible. I'd have thought back. Because this y'all neighborhood. This might be over with, because I gotta figure this out.
What you're hearing, my friends, is a children's football, what was supposed to be a football game for children. This week, and what happened? Shooting. The video, kids running everywhere. Everybody screaming, get down, get down. That was the referee, one of the referees, narrating what is happening in Chicago, where there was over 73, 74 shootings, and 7 dead over the weekend when Brandon Johnson was out pontificating. We found that Scott Jennings piece. We'll play that. We're going to talk about Chicago, but we also have to talk about tariffs and the COVID vaccines before we get out of here today. This is the fastest hour in American media. And we'd love for you to just stay for every single minute of it.
The Rush Hour with James Golden
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Okay, we have the Scott Jennings piece real quickly. Let me just reframe this very quickly. The president of Guatemala initiated a program, checked in with Donald Trump. Yeah, this is great. We're going to send back the unaccompanied minors whose parents, whose families want them home. The plane was on the tarmac. And the judge issued this ruling, oh, no, they can't leave. We've got to take them through court changes. And Scott Jennings was talking about this whole case. This is just a damnable case. Scott Jennings was on CNN, and the panel's arguing with him about it.
We're for child separation from their families now. We used to be against that. Now I guess we're for it. Here's what happened. These kids came here during the Biden administration.
These children have family in this country.
And their parents are in Guatemala, and the Guatemalan government...
not all of them. Not all of them.
The
10-year-old little girl who lost her mother, and then she said she was abused in Guatemala and came over. It's more complicated than just clear-cut. They all have parents in Guatemala.
These children were abandoned here somehow. They've been, sent here for some period of time. They're trying to reunite them with their families where they're from, with a government that has asked for their return and wants to facilitate their return. This all happened under the Biden administration. Now a Biden judge is trying to keep them here and to further this policy of keeping them separated from the families that they have in Guatemala. Everybody's upset about this, and I don't know why. They're trying to reunite them with their families.
But are you comfortable with how it was done, right? I understand you're taking the administration's line on this.
That's enough. You got it, folks. We got to get to Chicago. We got a lot of other stuff to do here. Okay, Chicago. You heard during the break a kid's game, playing football. And I assume, I didn't see the date, I checked for it, but I assume that happened this weekend, this football game in Chicago. It may not have been, but I'm assuming it was, which it had a recent post on social media. This children's football game interrupted with gunfire and the referee on the ground, everybody screaming, and you've got, it looks like dozens and dozens of kids out on this football field, not to mention the adults. Everybody's got to duck and run for cover. We all know Chicago is a mess. It's a mess. So, what do we get? We get Mayor Brandon Johnson this weekend, and this Cut 7 addressing a Labor Day crowd. This is Brandon Johnson.
Are you prepared to defend this land that was built by slaves, a land that was built by indigenous people, a land that is built by workers? Are you prepared to defend this land? Yeah! The people united will always prevail. I need you all to stand firm, to stand strong. If this president decides to continue to break this Constitution, it's going to be the labor movement that stitches it back together. The labor movement that brings black folks, white folks, Asians. It brings brown folks together. This is the city that said keep hope alive. The city that birthed Yes We Can. And the city that will defend this country. God bless you all. God bless the labor movement. God bless the greatest freaking city in the world, Chi-Town. No troops in Chicago. No troops in Chicago.
All right. So they go on during their chant. Now, you heard that. Basically, they're going to defend the city against, they're going to defend the criminals in the city, is what he's pretty much saying. We're going to defend against law enforcement coming in and making the city straight. Are you ready to defend the city? Who is he talking? He must be talking to the criminals. Are you ready to defend our criminals against law? Yes, Carlos.
I feel like he was also channeling his inner Obama when he was like, "Yes, we can" on that. At one point.
He was trying to cite all the great things that supposedly came from Chicago. He mentioned he
didn't mention the pizza.
Yeah, well, you're assuming it's great.
Oh, I don't want to get in trouble, but I mean, this is a topic for a different day, but yeah, I do.
Okay. So he talked about, first of all, he went to Jesse Jackson's slogan, and then he went to Obama's slogan, which was Yes We Can. That's all Chicago stuff. Now, you have that. Now let's turn to the president of Chicago's teachers union. She was on PMS NBC, MSDNC, soon to be PMS Now. President of Chicago's teachers union, Stacey Davis Gates. She's asked, is federal assistance needed? We're talking about the crime problem. That would be cut number 5. This is the head of the teachers union out there on PMS DNC, PMS NBC.
What do you say to those who are incredibly concerned about crime in your city when we saw 50 people shot, 7 fatally just over the weekend? And the argument can be made then that there needs to be some federal assistance in order to make both you and your students and those families safer.
And I would agree federal assistance is needed. So restore the Medicaid cuts, make sure that young people have SNAP benefits, rebuild and fund our Department of Education. You can give that $1 million a day to people who need support and housing and care.
But what does that do to address the crime situation in your city? I understand those grievances, but what does that do to keep people safe who feel, frankly, like our big cities are unsafe?
Well, what it has done already in Chicago has led to the precipitous decline in crime under this mayor.
Oh, please. You hear this garbage this woman's talking about? The precipitous decline in crime. You've got 50 people shot. 7 dead. It's over 50. And now she's going to go with talking points. What's her first answer to making the city safe? Give us more welfare dollars. Give us more welfare. Give us more money so that we can put in our slush funds for welfare. These people are disgraceful. Now let's turn to the lieutenant governor of Chicago, who's running, by the way, for the United States Senate. Her name is Juliana Stratton. That's cut number 3. Crime in Chicago. Here's the lieutenant governor who wants to be the senator from Illinois.
Well, first of all, let me just say that Donald Trump is not focused on public safety. Look, anytime that there's crime anywhere in our state or around the country, we want to continue to see progress being made, and we are making progress here in Illinois and in the city of Chicago. But this is not about public safety, and this is not about making our residents safer. What Donald Trump wants to happen is he wants to manufacture a crisis. He's going to, as we just talked about, there's going to be a surge of ICE enforcement efforts. He knows that people will see those efforts and then want to speak out. People, good, decent people, will be heartbroken to see their neighbors.
Okay, so here's the thing. So he doesn't care about public safety. He just wants to make sure there's going to be a surge. Our illegal immigrants are going to be taken away from us. Illegal. It's not about safety, she says. Okay, let's visit one of the aldermen in Chicago. This guy. I'm trying to find this alderman guy, make sure I have the right guy. I think this is it. Byron, Chicago, cut 9. This guy, alderman in Chicago. And this is what he had to say about the violence.
Something like 50-plus shootings, 52 people, I should say, were shot in Chicago, 30 different shootings over the holiday weekend, 7 people killed. Aren't numbers like that still a problem that your city needs to address? What more can be done to address that?
Well, I think that what we need to do is we also had a mass shooting in a Catholic school. We also have had many instances where the administration has really escalated, exacerbated the violence in our country, in our cities. Trump is a dictator. I think we got to be very clear. He's trying to normalize violence. He's trying to normalize military deployment in American cities like LA, DC, Chicago, and many others to come. But what we have not seen is really a systemic investment that will actually address the core issues. I had shootings in my ward. One of them was a tragic shooting of an unhoused neighbor. So the Trump administration is saying that they're going to address the issue of unhoused residents by putting them in jails, in concentration camps. Are they going to address the issue of violence by withholding $800 million that have gone to the cities like Chicago for violence prevention programs?
So this is unbelievable. They don't want to stop to the violence. He wants money, just like the other one. Give us more welfare money. This guy, give us money for violence prevention programs. We're dealing with the violence on the streets now. And all they want is money. It's just send us money so that we can split. Yes, Carlos, exactly. Doesn't it? It does sound fishy. Send us money. We don't give a damn about all these people being killed. Send us more millions. We have programs to set up. We have welfare. Send us money. He's a dictator. Send us money. Okay. Now, let's go to a Democrat strategist. Maybe we'll do better there. Here's a Democrat strategist. He's on Fox News. And they're asking him about Trump and wanting to take care of the violence in these cities. It's a black guy, by the way. And I say that for a particular reason. Number 12, Democrat strategist, Mr. Fred Hicks.
I was in Chicago, D.C. earlier this year. I'm in Atlanta right now, and I've not yet stepped in one single pool of blood. So I'm not sure what America and what major city Luke is referencing, and I'm not sure, even when I'm in New York City, what he's referencing.
Are you kidding?
And so with that being said...
Wait a minute. Okay, so you haven't stepped... Whoa. So you haven't stepped in a pool of blood. Okay, I'll be honest with you. Neither have I, thank God. But a lot of New Yorkers have, and a lot of people in Chicago have. You have seen the crime rates, right? I mean, in Chicago alone, you want to talk about Chicago? 52 people shot this weekend alone. Last weekend, 26. 7 people killed. That's a pool of blood. That's 52 pools of blood. Maybe you didn't step in it, but I tell you, the crime rates and statistics are facts. Why are you saying that you haven't? I think that's irresponsible.
This is insane. Here you got this guy, Chicago, Washington, Well, I haven't. I've been to Atlanta. I've been in Chicago, New York. I've never stepped in a pool of blood. There's no problem there. I haven't put my shoes in a pool of blood where someone's been murdered. I haven't stood on their blood, so therefore no problem here. And this is a Democrat strategist. Doesn't give a rat's ass about any person that's killed. And when you start talking about the number of black-on-black criminals and crime that is going on in these cities, the number of black men that are dead at the hands of other black men, it's not an issue. I haven't stepped in their blood. Who cares? I haven't stepped in their blood. I don't see a problem here. Okay, I'm not even done. But let's end up with the police. We didn't even get to some of the best stuff. I'll have to get to it tomorrow. Here is the former Chicago police superintendent, Jody Weiss. He was the police superintendent in Chicago, formerly. Cut 6. Here's his remarks.
If you think about it, the number one responsibility of government is to protect the people. And I see J.B. Prisker walking the late, 6 o'clock in the morning, saying, there's no crime here, it's beautiful. Well, it's 6 o'clock in the morning along the lake. I live pretty close to that area. There is no crime. Let him walk in the Austin neighborhood or the Inglewood neighborhoods at 11 o'clock, because that's where many of his constituents live, and they're not going to feel safe.
And, my friends, I'm keeping an eye on the clock because I briefly have to say a word about these tariffs. We got to leave the Chicago story there. I've got more to go. These people are insane. They're insane. James Golden, Snerdley, we're coming back. Don't go away.
The Rush Hour with James Golden
on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The Rush Hour with James Golden. Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
It will be a disaster if that is lost for our country. Our country will be weak, pathetic, and not rich. It will be, I've put us in a position, even negotiating. I negotiated 7 peace deals because I was able to use tariffs. Without tariffs, many of those deals, half of those deals, I wouldn't have been able to do. It gives us tremendous negotiating power. It gives us tremendous economic power. And it's the same exact thing that they've done to us for 30 years, and they're still doing it. If that decision would be lost, it would be an economic disaster for the United States. The United States will be the richest country. If we lose that decision, we'll be one of the very poor countries.
Well, that was President Trump, ladies and gentlemen. The Friday ruling from the this is the latest from the Court of Appeals from the Federal Circuit, U.S. Court of Appeals, that the tariffs are illegal is pretty much what they're saying. The president has vowed today they're going to appeal that. Congress needs to act because that could just circumvent all of this. Congress, Senate, vote on it. They're legal. And that's what should happen here. But I'm glad this is being appealed. This can have far-reaching ramifications. Now, I mentioned COVID. Don't have time to get into it today. The president is saying, and this is kind of a departure. I've been reading a thread between Princess Di and Lady Benedict on this. The president is now questioning whether or not these COVID vaccines do all that they said they can do. And he wants to see them publicly release the data on success rates. So we'll see what goes there. We're leaving you today with Billy Preston, known as the Fifth Beatle. Of course, yeah, he did. Played with a lot of the Beatles. He was in, especially live, played with their group. Yeah, Billy Preston had his own successful career. Solo artist. Will it go around in circles? But this was one of his biggest, and it was with Sarita. Sarita Wright, of course, married to Stevie Wonder. For a while, they're brilliant in her own right as well. Billy Preston, born on this day in 1946, heavenly birthday. So we'll leave you with this one. May God bless, protect each and every single one of you, your family, your loved ones. Love and gratitude always for you being here with me, allowing me to be with you. God willing, back tomorrow. In the meantime, I bid you adieu. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour. You can hear Bo Snerdley's Rush Hour weekdays at 4 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Larry Kudlow here for Colonial Metals Group. Ask yourself, is your retirement protected? Gold is the one asset that's surged through every war and economic shock. Please call 800-621-3908. That's 800-621-3908. Or just visit freegoldguide.com to claim your free 2025 Gold Guide. You'll learn how to protect your IRA or 401k and could qualify for up to $7,500 in free silver. That's freegoldguide.com.